Hi, I'm Ellen. I am one of your leaders here and facilitators, and I want to talk about objections and how we don't need to see them as a roadblock. But first, I want to talk about you in this business, authenticity, and what we are really about because we are not getting you. We don't want you to change who you are. We want to celebrate who you are and bring in your authentic network and self to this business. And what some people do when they come in here is they think, oh, well, now I have to be a business person and I have to change myself. No, please be you, stay who you are, and rather than change yourself, celebrate who you are and recognize that everything that you hold, all the qualities about you, there's no one else like you, no one else that was born in this time, no one else that has the same talk, the experiences, the history that you have. No one else does what you do in the world in the unique way that you do it. So use that as an opportunity to set yourself apart and be really who you are as you share yourself in this business. Okay, that is number one for that, because when you do that, and you come from a place of authenticity, people recognize that. And I know you're going to go through times when you question yourself and you say, oh, what are people going to think of me if I start sharing these oils? Are they going to think I drank the Kool-Aid or whatever? But know that if you come from a place of service when you're reaching out to people, they're not going to have these kinds of objections that I'm going to talk about today, because they know you and they know who you are, and they know that you're taking the time and consideration to reach out to them because you want to help them and you want to give them solutions, not because you want to sell them on something. In fact, this business is not about a kit sale. And that is 100% true. Yes, it's generous because you get a $50 commission every time someone uses your link to get a kit. That is true. But if this were about selling kits, it would not be valuable to me. I'm a person who wants to help people, and your whole business would look the same. The beauty of the Young Living business is that the products themselves are replicable. What does that mean? It means that in other MLM companies, most people do not reorder their products because they don't work the same way. But Young Living was built around the products and not the business. And that's really, really unique to know about. You need to know that. This has a 40% retention rate. That's almost unheard of. In an MLM, the highest retention rate is usually 8% at the highest. But Young Living customers have for 25 years been ordering at a 40% retention rate, which means they come in not to do the business. In fact, 97% of our downlines do not do the business, right? 3% do it. And that's because they love the products and they come back for the products, which makes this a great business for you, because it's going to be so much easier for you to retain those customers and grow a business. And that's why so many people have had such incredible success. So I want to talk about that first. And then I'll go into some specific objections so that you know how to deal with them, like price, that kind of thing. But the first thing I want you to know is that this is not a race. Okay? It's not a race. You take this at your own speed and you be exactly who you are. Don't try to be a business person. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you don't like business, don't do it. Do what is fun. Find what drives you with these oils so you can reach out to other people. Your vision is what's going to drive you forward. So if I have a vision that I want to help others become healthier and happier by living a toxin-free lifestyle, that vision is going to take me into the next part of my journey. And it is actually what it is. I want others to be healthy so that they can find that their own bodies have more power than they recognize, that they can heal themselves, that they can support themselves, that they can bring in an income, right? These toxin-free products change everything. And I live with Lyme disease. The first thing we had to do when these oils came in, I didn't realize that they were going to do it for me, but it was to remove the toxins from the home. And all the Young Living products will help to do that. But when I use the oils on my skin, within 30 minutes, these oils can be within every cell in my body, because there are 40 million trillion molecules in a drop of essential oils, which is 40,000 times more than you have in your entire body. What does that mean? Well, it would mean not much if it stopped there, but these oils have the ability to clean the cell receptor sites within your cells, to remove toxins from the body, and increase the way that our endocrine system communicates with itself and with each other. They help the cells to communicate better within the body, and they transport within the body. They also can move through the blood-brain barrier, and they can pull out toxins and clear the mind and all of these amazing things that you will learn about. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about objections. And as you start to reach out, I am imploring you to not take a no as a roadblock, and don't be discouraged, because people need to learn before they can jump in. And again, it's not a race. What we're here to do is educate people, give them the resources so they can make educated decisions. And the questions that they ask and the no's that they say are exactly what we want so that we can teach them what they need to know. That is crucial. This business is about caring and helping people, and that means having conversations and teaching them, right? It means to teach them what you know. And you will know when you start to use the oils more and more that you have powerful stories to share. And even if you don't, you have stories in your upline's resources by the person who enrolled you or in the groups of people who have had solutions and success with these oils that go beyond anything you ever thought possible. And as you start to learn these stories, you'll be able to share them with people, because sharing is the first way, sharing stories, the first way to move through objections. Because everything is a sale. Let's talk about that. Even when we, want our spouse or partner to take out the trash, that's a sell. Like, can you please take out the trash, because that would be amazing for the house and make it better. Everything you do is selling things. So let's get past that for a moment. You are not a salesperson, but you also are. Always. And your ability to influence people can tell you that you are selling yourself. You're selling an opportunity. But that said, if you use service and education and conversation and caring as a way to sell, then you're going to feel so fulfilled when somebody, one of your customers, texts you and says that they slept for the first time in 6 months, or that they had a headache that wouldn't go away and they tried this little blend that you gave them and their occasional headache went away. These are the stories that your life are going to be built on, and you're going to feel so good that you introduced Young Living to people. So knowing that everything is a sales opportunity, that we're selling everything every day in our life, you have to ask yourself, are you going to sell people on your vision to bring toxin-free products to their home and make them healthier and help them in their lives? Or are they going to sell you on their disbelief or fear of what you're trying to share? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some basic objections. I'm going to start with probably where you are as a newbie and move up to the more complicated ones, okay? First of all, you might be sending out messages to invite people in your circles to our ongoing class, and you're going to get some no's. That is just part of the process. I want you to look at these no's as an opportunity to educate people, because they are not seeing the value. The value has to be built around something before someone can jump in, and they need 7 touches before they're going to jump in, okay? They can't say no more than 7 times. So invite them and let them know the value, that they're going to win a prize, or they might win a prize, and they're going to learn some things they didn't know, and that you can follow up with them later, and you add them to the group and tag them on special things, right? These are the things that you're going to do to overcome those no's. And also know that a no doesn't mean no forever. It means no for now, until they get the value. There are 4 keys that I tell people that show value in the kit. The first one is the monetary value. So if someone comes to you and says, I have an issue with the price point, you will know that if you can state a few things up front, that's not going to come up. And I'll tell you what that is. First of all, the monetary value of the kit is huge, because for $165, they're getting almost $400 in value. That's incredible. They get a free $85 diffuser. These are the points that I tell people up front if I know that they're going to be worried about money. I'll say, you could buy all these oils outright and it would cost you $400. Here's a breakdown, and I send them a graphic. I'll post a graphic under this video, but you can also get this breakdown from your upline or your enroller. We all have it. It's a plug-and-play business, easy to send. That's one thing. The second thing that builds value into the kit is the community. With the kit, you also get access to this community that has stories and testimonials and tips and tricks, and you get me. I'm part of the value, right? So you can tell your people that you get me. I'll be here to do this journey with you. If you're beginning, you can say, I'm going to be learning alongside you. It's going to be so fun. When you find out something new, you can call me, and then I can call you when I find out something new. I used to do that. My son, the first time he slept in 2 years without coming into my room was when I put cedarwood, lavender, and vetiver on the back of his neck and wrist and in his diffuser. Now that's a story, right? And if you're joining this with a friend and you can share that, that's pretty fun. You could call each other. I would call my friend every day and be like, oh my God, did you know that Valor can be used for snoring? It's true. Under the pad of the big toe, just wipe it on and then take a video of your spouse snoring and then stopping. That's so fun. So you get me with the kit. You get community with the kit. You have all of these resources. You can even pull up your phone and show them the community. That's another bit of the value. So this is kind of addressing people's objections up front because you know this stuff and you can just pull it out of the roof, top of your head as you go. Another bit of the value is that these oils, they never expire. You don't have to buy regularly. You don't have to buy month to month. There's an ER program that you can do, which obviously is the best deal because you get money back. But you don't have to. You're not roped into something. People are often afraid of that. So if you say that out front, and I'll give you an example of how I introduce the kit in a little bit. But if you say these things up front, they know, okay, I'm not going to get roped in. Young Living doesn't have to trick people to buy things. That's not at all what they're about. They have a loyalty program, but you are not locked in. You can order when and if you need to. Also, once you're a member forever. So again, no tricks. You get wholesale pricing your whole life. Once you get a starter kit, that's it. And they don't go towards some other objections. People ask me, but do they work? I don't think they really work. And I say, this is what I say, literally. I said, well, there are over 30,000 peer-reviewed studies showing the efficacy of essential oils, so much so that hospital systems are using them regularly for support. In fact, I work with 30 hospitals that I've enrolled that use these oils on a day-to-day basis. And then I'll tell them something like this. NASA has used Young Living oils in research and sent them to the Space Center to see how radiation affects the cells of the seeds. They do not use inferior oils. These oils work. But that said, I also like to tell people, and I'll get to this later, that the Monell Center for Chemical Senses uses these in research into the brain. Now, the Monell Center is run by a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who discovered that Young Living oils can actually move through the neuron into the amygdala. She was part of a team. Her name is Pamela Dahl. And now they use Young Living oils exclusively in research about the brain. They're doing studies now to see if you've lost your sense of smell, if you can still get the value from the oils, which, little tip, you can. So I say these things to people to let them know. They don't have to believe me. Look on PubMed or Google Scholar and you can find all of the peer-reviewed studies on essential oils for everything you could ever think of. Though we can't make a claim that oils can cure, diagnose, or treat a disease because we are distributors, we can point people to research that helps them to understand better. The most important thing after teaching people about this stuff is to follow it up with a tag, a post, or a resource. So after you have a conversation with someone or you give them a sample or they try the oils, you just need to turn around, take the 5 minutes that it takes to tag them on Facebook on other ways that that oil works or on something that is supporting what you've already told them because they aren't going to just believe you. You need to show them a couple things. It takes literally 5 minutes. Another objection that people might have is they might say, oh my gosh, I could just get my oils from the store. Okay, this shows me I have not educated people enough about the difference between Young Living and other brands. Did you know that there's no FDA requirement or restriction upon oils? An oil can have as little as 5 to 30% of absolute essential oil in it and call itself 100% therapeutic grade. And they can have multiple distillations on an oil and still call themselves Organic, 100% therapeutic grade. What does this mean? Distillation process matters crucially, okay? And if you don't know this, I'm telling you now, this is something you're gonna wanna write down. If you distill an oil more than one time, 2 times, right? It removes sesquiterpenes from the top of the oil. Oils have many constituents that help them work in the body. Sesquiterpenes, monoterpenes, phenols, lots of other things, right? This is how they work on a cellular level. Now, if you distill the oil and remove the sesquiterpenes from the top, well, darn it, you're removing the thing that helps them work in the brain. They don't work in the brain the same way. They don't move through the blood-brain barrier. They don't shift emotion. They don't move through the limbic system. Nothing. You don't get any of that. So you don't have to know this, but your upline does. So you don't have to know it. Just know that this is part of it. So the oils in the store, because there are no regulations, they can have fillers and boosters that are actually harmful. And there are ways that you can have your people test this. Say, hey, if you have oils at home, let's do a little test. I'll come over, we'll do a smell comparison. That's one test. Easier, take your oils from the store and put them in the freezer. If they freeze, they are not pure. They have boosters, sesquiterpenes, and they are not safe to be used topically. Young Living oils can be used topically in the diffuser, and the Vitality oils can be ingested. Now, if you have a lemon oil from the store and it says do not ingest, then you know it is not safe and it is not pure. And I want to tell you this as a warning, if you're diffusing oils into the air and getting them into your nasal cavity, you are ingesting oils, and that is not safe if you're not using oils that are pure. This is why hospitals have to use, and NASA and the Menel Center, they have to use absolute pure essential oils, and they choose Young Living. So, and then I would also say, did you know that Young Living was the first company to ever create essential oils in the history of the world? They created the term, right? Oils were used back in ancient times, but they didn't call them that, right? They didn't call them essential oils. And so Young Living as a company followed these, I guess, distillers and learned the process of distillation that had been handed down for generations in France. So, and then, Gary Young went to Egypt to learn those distillation practices and about the oils that were used in Egypt for spiritual and emotional growth and physical growth. They also created the distillation process that has been used by every essential oil company in the world that does their own distillation, many of which don't. Also, Young Living owns their farms and controls every bit of the process from the time it's planted in the ground to the time it's bottled and capped. It never leaves the hand of the company. No chemicals at all in the soil. It has to be organic for, Young Living says, at least 100 years, which is far more than what the USDA requirement for organic foods is, which is 30 years. Honestly, most of their farms have never been touched by a chemical because they're on reservations or they're in other countries. The land was acquired prior to chemicals being used in the soil, so they are still virgin land. These are things that you may not know, but now you do, so that when you talk to people, you can be educated and in the know about what this is. It's a racket out there with the way that people sell oils. They do not care what they're giving you. They care about a bottom line. And did you know 300 times more lavender oil than was produced in the country of France left the country in export? That tells you that there were 300 times more falsities in the labels of essential oil. That's what it tells you. It tells you this is a racket. It's not governed at all. And I've known people who have taken our tips on pages, like for the weight support trio, used another kind of oil. She used Melaleuca oils, and she got really backed up and really sick because they're trying to enter the market and they're not distilling their own oils. They're not doing it properly, and they're adding boosters and additives. So she learned, okay, I'm going to use the Young Living oils when I use those oils and ingest them, of course. And I myself had that issue with my own journey. I did not believe what people were telling me about the oils being true, and then I made a mistake, and I also my daughter got sick from oils that were not right. But these oils have never hurt her. We've been using for 7 years, and it's been a whole different story. So I wanted to talk about that too, so you know a little bit about that objection. So the placebo effect part we've already talked about. Obviously, there are research studies to show you. And there's more. So let me see what else I can find for objections. The network marketing objection. I think we already talked about this before, but I've already mentioned a lot of little seeds in this conversation about that. But Young Living is direct marketing. It is not a pyramid scheme. Those are illegal. And those are illegal. And it is not a pyramid scheme. Those are illegal. They are not allowed anymore at all. In fact, there are many very good MLM companies out there, network marketing companies, and they aren't all run in a way that is harmful to other people. And how do you know a good company? One, they're focused on a product, not the business. That's Young Living. Two, you don't have to hold the product and resell it. You don't have a garage full of oils. I have oils because I love them. I mean, look at those oils right there. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. I use them all the time. But I'm not required. I don't resell those. That's my personal stash. I want those because I want to have them around. And for you, it's just sharing your link, and Young Living will share, ship everything to you. You don't even have to worry about it. Another thing is, do they have a good history? How long have they been around? Young Living's been around over 25 years, has good markings from the Better Business Bureau. And as with all big companies, it's a $2 billion company. They have maintained their integrity in that it's all about the product. If they will never sell a product that's inferior, if peppermint comes back with the wrong constituents and it wasn't distilled at the right time on the right hour, on the right day, they will toss it, $1 million truckloads of peppermint oil, or they'll use it. They won't toss it. They'll use it to deter pests natural ways, so they don't have to use pest deterrents or pesticides. So these are things to keep in mind. You want to know that a company controls every process of their product instead of outsourcing, right? So this is true of an MLM or any other oil company. Our biggest competitor outsources their distillation, which means the oil leaves the hand of the company and goes to China and gets distilled and bottled and then gets shipped out. No, you don't want the oils to leave the hands. You don't want products to leave hands. So I think that kind of covers it. We can talk more about this in the comments if you have questions. I just wanted to give a brief overview of some objections that might come up and how you can avoid seeing them as a roadblock and instead see them as opportunity. Your task, your daily task after this video, is to think about what your biggest objection was. What is your biggest objection to this business or to the oils, and how did you overcome it? Or if you haven't overcome it, let us know and we will help you find the resources to do that. And for extra credit, if you can, reach out to your enroller and ask what kinds of resources are available to you to use. Like, do they have email campaigns or text programs? Do they have an education group that you can be a part of? Do they have classes? Do they have pre-made sway links? Sway links are something that's made by your upline. You can send it out and it's just a quick little website about, here's oils and hormones and here's everything they do. Here's oils and spirituality. Here's oils and emotions. Here's how they work in the brain. You want to know about the farm? Here's a link about the farm and the oils and all that. So your job now is to just do that homework, comment below. I hope you enjoyed this and that you have a really wonderful day. I'm excited to see where this business takes you because you are going to be blown away by the potential.